Hey everybody, this is Yes Coach Lisa. I am so excited to be here as I always am. I really, I have this unique opportunity to meet and then to bring to life through interviewing some incredible movers and shakers out there doing some work in all different ways. I like to call them my mission movers because they're taking their mission and moving it in a way that really has such an impact on life. So, welcome to the table, Lisa Charles's room. Jeff, thank you so much for coming. Can you just tell us a little bit about you, like a little bit about you and your business?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Jeff Tomaszewski. I'm the Chief Life Transformer at Max Strength Fitness. I started this venture over 20 years ago. What we do at Max Strength Fitness is we help people typically 45 and above, the underserved, underappreciated, don't know what to do in the gym or how to do it, help with their health and fitness in only 20 minutes twice a week without breaking a sweat. It's all one-on-one strength training in a clinically controlled environment, temperatures controlled so that we can keep the body as efficient as possible. Just like your car, if it overheats, it doesn't run as well. It's a mechanical process. But people think we need to sweat to be productive. Not true. Bonus, you can come in, train, go right back to your busy day. It's distraction free, no mirrors, no music. We take a very clinical approach. My background's physical therapy and sports medicine. So that's how this kind of all evolved for me back 20 years ago plus. So one-on-one strength training, 20 minutes twice a week, in, out, back to your busy day. We have 3 corporate studios in Cleveland, Ohio, where we started. And now we have 15 franchise partners and 27 territories throughout 9 states. And we're just growing.
That's pretty incredible. I think one of the things that I see from the business leaders that I speak to, because you've done so much, it just rolls off. And it seems it's like, oh, okay, well, that's just, everyday easiest thing that ever everyone can do that and I'm not saying and saying clearly if you have your dreams you can do, but that was a lot that you accomplished. There were a
Yeah.
couple of things that you said. Now, what is the title that you give yourself? That was really, you just
Yeah.
that in there
Yeah,
was.
so instead of personal trainers, we call our trainers life transformers because that's what we do. So I'm the CEO, but I'm the chief life transformer of Max Strength Fitness. So I'm the head guy, I guess. That being said, we firmly believe that what we do can make a profound. We don't believe it. We see it day in day because of the testimonials and the clients and the results that they get. We profoundly improve the quality of people's lives in a fraction of the time they would normally spend in the gym without surgical intervention or medication, things of that nature. I'm talking increase overall strength, which increases your overall daily function, the ability to do daily activities, walking, biking, jogging, yoga, Pilates, other recreational things. Help lower blood pressure, cholesterol, reverse type 2 diabetes, increase bone density, increase libido, increase energy, increase overall mobility. Those are all things that come from high intensity strength training. So that's why we call ourselves life transformers because we profoundly impact the quality of somebody's life in only 20 minutes twice a week.
Well, it sounds like it would be all dimensions of their life too that would affect their personal, physical,
Oh
and
yeah.
mental.
Once you hit the big domino of exercise and just the quality of your overall functionality and your quality of your life, everything else simply cascades. Because when they work hard in the studio and they don't want to go self-sabotage by eating unclean, right? They want to go and then they might take on mindfulness or meditation or other things. Their self worth improves, their cognitive function improves. So it's that one domino that we simply take over of the exercise that's really, really daunting to a lot of people because a lot of people are intimidated to go into a gym or studio or something like that. They don't know what to do, how to do it. They don't want to go into big box gyms, people rah rah screaming, cheerleading, things of that nature. So we set a very private, intimate studio location so that they can come in and be very secure in that experience.
It's really interesting. You use the word domino. And I love it because you think if you've seen any of, I hope everyone has seen domino demonstration, it really does one thing leads to another. But you're a
Mhm.
real disruptor. And one would say maybe you're rolling the domino the opposite way than most people think. How did you even come up with this idea? Because most people, if you look and even it's out there right now, if you don't sweat, you don't work out. If you're not in pain, then you have no gain. All of those things are
Yeah.
still so embedded in
Yeah.
the fitness world. How did you do that? I mean, how did you even come up with this idea to do something different?
Yeah, so I wish it was my own personal idea, but I'll give credit to those who have come before me, obviously. Arthur Jones, who created Nautilus Corporation, the equipment manufacturer, was like the godfather, if you were, the first starting of high intensity strength training, meaning that When you go into the gym, you have two options. You can work at a high level of effort in a low volume of time because there's only so much energy we have to expend, or the opposite of what most people do is a high level of time but low level of effort, right? So what we want to do is when you come in, you got 100 units of energy, let's say, at a full tank of gas. We want to empty that gas tank as much as we can. All of the research will show, and this is back decades, but now finally research is supporting what we've been doing for 20, 30 years here in the industry, is it's the quality or the intensity of the exercise that dictates change in the body. It's not necessarily the volume or frequency. So we're always asking the question, what's the least amount of time we can spend exercising and get the most profound results out of our efforts? And we use a biological model, and we supply to what or subscribe to what we call the minimum effective dose. Pharmaceutical companies bank their livelihood off of this premise, and you'll know exactly what it means or what it is once I explain it. If you had high blood pressure, for example, and you went to the doctor and your goal was to lower that blood pressure, they would give you a drug. Well, they have to give you the exact dose to create the change in the blood pressure because too much is toxic, can have an adverse effect or kill you. Not enough doesn't do anything. So they need the right dose, but they also need the right frequency. So, maybe it's X milligrams once a day, things like that. So same thing with exercise. So when we come into the studio and we have one set to muscular fatigue, that's the stimulus that creates change when you walk out the door. Then we allow 2 to 3 days of rest and recovery because that's when the body changes and adapts. All we do when we strength train is tear muscle fibers down and create that stimulus, but we need the recovery period. So less is better once you create the high level of stimulus. So that's the model we use. The other thing from a biological perspective, this will make sense from an intensity perspective of how we can get away with only 20 minutes twice a week. People say, well, I need hours in the gym to get results. That's not true either. We've proven that. For example, if my goal was to get the world's best suntan, which I don't advocate for health reasons, but if it is, let's use that. We know from science the UV radiation is what reddens the skin. So the higher the UV index or the higher the UV radiation, the more reddening of the skin we get. I could go out on a hot summer day like today and the UV index is 8 to 9 and I could sit out there 20, 30 minutes and get the stimulus, the UV radiation, and then over the next few hours, day or two, I get reddening of the skin. Or I could take that UV radiation and bottle it up and put it in a bulb and put it in a tanning bed. And within 6 to 7 minutes, I can get the same or better result as I did sitting outside with the high UV index. What changed? We increased the intensity of that UV index, that UV radiation, and put it in a bulb, decrease the time, increase the intensity. And that's what we do at Max Strength Fitness to get the results. So we increase the intensity or the quality of the exercise and decrease the volume and time needed.
I love it. And I think right now people are a lot more open just to look, they want to see the results, number one.
Yeah.
And when they see a history of results, it's wonderful. I'm curious, always, when people have such success as you've had so far, and it's just starting. That's why I say so far, because there's so much to come. Um, what was the catalyst? What is
Yeah. So
behind what you
Yeah, so this all started for me unbeknownst to me when I was just a small child. I mean, I was 5 years old, just about to turn 6. My mom suffered for 18 months from ovarian cancer. And at that time, a seed was planted in me, and I didn't know it then, but I would come to find out that that seed would grow and grow and grow because I saw what cancer did to my mom, how it devastated her mind, her body, and her soul. And I had to watch my dad take care of 3 boys along that path. So when she passed, then I get a little bit older and I get into high school, I get into athletics, and I get into sports medicine, and then I get into college and I become an athletic trainer. And that's where I wanted to just help people because I saw what cancer did to my mom. Now, I didn't want to be a doctor. I didn't want to put in the time and the effort to go and do all that. I knew there was a better path for my life. So I firmly believe I was put on this earth by God, whoever you believe in, whatever being, to help people become the strongest versions of themselves in only 20 minutes twice a week. So that seed was planted early on to help, people who are suffering with their health and fitness because we do not have to quote unquote succumb to the aging process. We prove that time and time again. We should be able to age gracefully on our own terms without being dictated by doctor's visits and medications and things of that nature. And we see clients all the time reverse or slow that aging process down through only 20 minutes twice a week of high intensity strength training.
now, some people would say, is it something that, is there's an age range where, wow, you should have started by this time, you won't get the same results? Or do you find something different with your clientele?
Yeah, I mean, the best time to have started would be like in your 20s, right? But if you're in your 50s and 60s, it's not too late to still add muscle to your body. We all suffer after the age of 30 what's called sarcopenia. And sarcopenia is the wasting away of muscle tissue and mass. We lose it at about a rate of 3 to 5% every decade, and then after 60 it about doubles. So as they say, if you don't use it, you lose it. Well, when you decrease your muscular mass on your body, you decrease the stability, mobility, and flexibility around your joints, blood pressure, cholesterol, all those benefits I talked about earlier, they all suffer, right? So it's not uncommon for our clients who are 50, 60, 70. I've got a 99-year-old. It's never too late to start building muscle back to help with your overall function and your longevity.
I love it. I know there's a couple of aspects of your business that you mentioned because you also have franchises and things of that nature. So, my audience, a lot of are entrepreneurs and, maybe this might be something. Is there something you can give or some piece of advice you can give for people that might want to have a franchise? Like, what kind of background should they have? What kind of things should they have in place for that to be a reality?
Sure. Yeah. So the first business book I ever read was The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And that's about putting systems, processes, and procedures in place when you start a small business as if you're going to scale it to make it a franchise system, even if you never have aspirations to grow beyond one location. But when you have a job, or I'm sorry, when you open a small business, you actually own a job. You are the CEO, CFO, you're the chief sanitary officer, you're the janitor, you do all the roles, right? Until you have systems in place where you can delegate those job roles onto other people, you really truly only a job instead of a business. So I knew it from I always looked at the end in mind when I started this company 20 years ago, that if I wanted to grow it successfully and beyond myself, which again, my mission is to help as many people as possible, and I'm only one guy, I needed to build a business that was scalable, and a franchise model just made sense to me. So we slow grew our corporate company over time. I have three girls, so I didn't want to be an absentee dad. I wanted to be there, be present. So I strategically grew this over time. Now they're older. Now we've launched our franchise, and now we're off and running. So systems, processes, and procedures, you can't launch a franchise unless you have those in place. A lot of entrepreneurs will go like, everything's in your head. Well, you just got to get it out of your head. So you got to have, and technology is amazing now. A lot of times I'll just pull up my phone and voice recorder or shoot a video, and there's our SOP, standard operating procedure. And then things change over time, so you can easily change those and adapt those as you go. But you need something that a franchisee can follow on a day-to-day basis for your systems and processes to put in place to be a successful franchise model.
No, I know you mentioned a book, and I just have a few more questions for you, Jeff. But was there like a particular mentor, mentors, or groups? How did that play into your success?
Yeah, I mean, I've had so many mentors along the way. First starting out, I had a business partner, Josh Trentini, who really helped mentor me, and we came together and built this company together. We've since parted ways, but Ken Hutchins, who developed Super Slow Systems, Arthur Jones, who created, as I mentioned earlier. But then I've been in different business acumen. I've been in part of entrepreneurs organization here locally for entrepreneurs. I'm in a lot of mastermind groups. Chris Tomczak, who owns Health Source Chiropractic at over 200 units across the country. He's been my personal mentor for the last probably 7 years to help launch this thing. So yes, I get in rooms where I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room, and I want to surround myself with people who have been there, done that. And I'm happy to pay money to get in those rooms to gain speed and time. So I think if you can invest that time and money and effort into getting into masterminds or mentor or coaching, and you'd be surprised, a lot of people who are extremely successful, they really just want to give back. And a lot of mentors will just coach you or help you out for free. They might be a coffee once a week or once a month or whatever it is, but you can gain so much knowledge from them and help you just save so much time and effort and money in the long run by learning from people who've already been there and done that.
I really love what the couple of things that you said. If I could put it together in a summation, you read and are well read about the things that you're most interested in and motivate you. You surround yourself with people that are going to be supportive, but also that are going to challenge.
Yeah,
And that you have everything doesn't have to be for tomorrow. So you have a patience about doing it in the right way with the systems behind you. I think that just speaks volumes about you, but it's excellent advice for anyone. I
yeah.
always find it fascinating. Was there a time that it was a challenge in this business that you're building? And if
Oh,
it,
yeah.
there was, how did you meet it?
Yeah, so in the beginning, like I said, when I had a business partner, we had an investment group that came in and helped us to build 2 studios, and then we went into 3 studios, one down in Florida, and they threw a lot of money at us and things of that nature to help us grow, but that lasted only about 18 months, and when they pulled out, we were left with nothing. We were left with our studios and zero in the bank account, and so we had to figure out how to work it. And that was the moment in time when I really went to work on learning how to run a business. I mean, I'm a technician at heart. I have no, I really have no business being in the position I'm in, running a multi-million-dollar company. I have no formal MBA. I'm an athletic trainer by trade, a strength conditioning specialist. I have a master's in exercise physiology. I have no business acumen from that perspective. It is all self-taught and self-learned through trial and error and through the real world experiences. But that's when I went to work on learning marketing, advertising, influence, persuasion, how to build a company, how to create core values, how to create a culture that is winning culture. And I just fell in love with business itself. And so then I geeked out on all of those things from a business perspective. And that's what really helped me set the foundation to be able to grow this company. So that was one challenge. And then the other challenge is obviously in 2020 when the world shut down. We have our beautiful brick and mortar studios, and if you would have told me at that time that we would have to shut down, I would say we're just done. But in 3 to 4 days, my leadership team and I met and we said, well, how are we going to pivot? And we went 100% virtual. At that time, our clients being 50 and above, a lot of them, they don't use technology or they didn't use technology. So we had to literally call them on the phone, talk them through how to open up Zoom or FaceTime or something to connect with them. And we pivoted. We went out and hand delivered to their mailbox a exercise band to every single one of our clients so we can give them something to help them. Our protocol is adaptable into any means. It's just easier for us to train on our fancy equipment in our clinically controlled studios. So we did that for 12 weeks. And then not only did we survive through that time, but we thrived because we were constantly in contact with our clients every single day and helping them survive that storm, if you would. And then fast forward again, we were just about to launch the franchise at that time, and then we had to take a step back because of COVID and the pandemic and everything that shut us down. Fast forward, we regrouped and everything. Then I was ready to launch the franchise again in the spring of 2021. And then in June of 2021, right before we were start to launch, we had our franchise disclosure document in hand, everything in systems and processes ready to go to market and ready to market it. And then tragically and unexpectedly, my wife passed away. So that set me back, and it took me another probably 8 to 12 months to reel back from that. And then we finally launched our franchise in 2023, and here we are. So yes, it's not all rainbows and roses as we've gone through this process. There's a lot of trials and errors, but I firmly believe with all of my heart that the challenges and the obstacles that you face are what are going to make you grow, and they're going to force you to grow and make you better because you're either going to survive or you're going to fade away. And in my option, failure is not an option. So now look, I fail all the time. Don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect, but I take those failures as lessons to move forward. So I like to fail fast and fail quick and fail forward.
Oh, I love it. All right, fast, fail fast, quick, and forward. Um, I'm 100% sure that everyone would want to know the vision that you have for the future. So if you're looking at, I'm imagining, and I'm so sorry to hear about your wife, but I
Thanks.
imagine you guys had the most incredible conversations about what things could look. This is great here, but this is the big dream.
Yeah.
So could you share with us what is your big dream? Where do you see this moving? And
Yeah, currently we have, like I said, 27 territories awarded. I'd like to get to 50 by the end of the year. I'd like to get to 250 within 5 to 7 years. I really firmly believe our modality can help so many people reverse or stop that aging process or slow it down as much as possible. And that I'm just put on this earth again to help fulfill that mission. And that's why franchising is such a great factor for me to be able to launch this across the country and help as many people through our life transformers as we can. So that's my vision. That's my mission.
I mean, that's powerful. And I think we're on this trajectory of really taking a deeper dive of health issues and moving it to another level. So you're right. Playing in the right field at the right time, as they say.
Yeah.
If people wanted to get in contact with you, or even if people maybe said, hey, franchise sounds pretty interesting to me.
Yeah.
What would be the best way of contacting you? And then, of course,
Yeah.
I'll include all that with the video.
Sure. Yeah, they can go directly to maxstrengthfitness.com. There's a franchise tab at the top. There's a contact tab at the bottom. That's the easiest way to reach me. All of our social pages are on there: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all of those things. We do tons of inspirational, motivational videos. Got over 100 of videos on there. Yeah, maxstrengthfitness.com is the best place to reach out to me.
Oh, Jeff. I'm going to leave it to you. Is there any final words you would have for my audience?
I would say, if you're an entrepreneur, never give up on your dreams. No matter how much obstacles or challenges you have, I'm always looking into the future because the days are long and the years are short, and you can get stuck in the weeds. And if you're an entrepreneur, you're typically left on an island by yourself. Your spouse, your friends, your family, even your team, they don't understand the trials, the stress that you go through. So please surround yourself with like-minded individuals who are in the same boat you are. That would be one advice. You follow your dreams and just surround yourself with like-minded people. Those are the two biggest things I would say.
Well, I thank you.
And it is
Oh,
never too late from not an entrepreneur, just individual. It is never too late to become healthy, fit, and strong. We prove that time and time again. So please do not give up on your health. Do not succumb to the aging process because it is in your control. You just have to take the first step and then the next step and the next step. And then we all know how compounding interest works. It's the same thing with exercise. Unfortunately, I don't go into the studio today and work out and get the results right away. It takes time and you have to be patient with it. Delayed gratification is the biggest thing that I think people need to understand and need to appreciate. But it will come. All of a sudden, you're gonna wake up and say, "Wow, I've got some more muscle. I'm more toned. I'm lean. My blood pressure is better. My cholesterol, my DEXA scans are better for my bone density." Those things take time, but they will come if you just are consistent with the small things done consistently over time. And I think that's the other thing. Shiny object syndrome, a lot of times with entrepreneurs, is like looking for the next thing. Like I put my head down 20 years ago to build one business and one business only. And here we are 20 years now getting started in a franchise. So I firmly believe I'm just getting started, but I'm looking for the next 20 years for success.
oh my gosh. I asked you for one piece of wisdom and you gave me 1,000 pieces,
All right.
all of which are really golden. And I really thank you for that. I don't think there could be a better message than to be so driven in your mission, but also never giving up on
Yeah,
yourself. So thank
appreciate
you,
it.
Jeff. You just really, I think, enlighten my audience in ways maybe beyond what you even think and imagine. So
I hope so. Happy to help.
thank you so much.
My pleasure.